Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a freaking Friday football edition of Hurricane Aftermath. The Trop is no more. Steven Stamkos is gone, and the Bucs had to move to New Orleans to avoid a hurricane. What is going on in this world? What are we doing? And the USF is going to play a game in Orlando. Thank God it's not the bounce house. Jiminy Christmas. This is what happens when Mother Nature gets pissed off and takes it out on us. This is what happens. But welcome into the show. We've got all kinds of interesting stuff for you today. My friend Tim Ham, IndyCar Tim, and our Dallas affiliate is with me this morning as we're going to talk all things football, baseball, hockey, all kinds of good stuff. What's up, partner? How are you?
What is happening? It is a sunny, clear sky, 64 degrees here in DFW this morning.
Oh, it's cool here.
Yeah, and we've got a
nice. It's like 68 this morning. Beautiful.
Oh, nice. We've got a front coming through. We're going to be down in the 40s, I think, tomorrow
Ooh,
night.
Let's go. Oktoberfest is here. That's drinking weather, right?
Oh, big time. That's outdoor drinking weather.
Some people say sleeping. Tim goes, that's drinking weather. That's
drinking
outdoor
weather.
drinking. Well, open the patios. Let's go. Let's go.
No, we don't even need the fire pits and crap when it's that warm still.
That's perfect. Yeah.
That's
This is when we get football weather.
Yeah.
This is when it's really good.
I should be out there so I can go hang out at the patio.
Yeah. Well, I think I might make it up to Tallahassee for one game this year. And if we do, that'll be the North Carolina game in November 2nd, I believe it is.
Oh, nice.
Because that's one of the few games we might be able to win. And that'll be nice and chilly football weather. So we shall see. But we got lots to get to. And speaking of chilly, my friend, we got hockey tonight, baby. We got hockey tonight. By the way, we'll set up the show here. Scott Carter's going to join us at 10:30 for our Jeeves Law Group Gator Report. So we'll chat with him as the Gators depart for Knoxville. And the Gator-Tennessee rivalry is always a good one. Always a good one. But this one is going to be interesting now that Tennessee, having been ranked fourth, coming off that very crushing and disappointing loss at Arkansas, will now welcome in the Gators and probably have a little something for them. But the Gators, listen, 2 straight wins. They're scoring the football. They're moving it. Got a puncher's chance in this one, so we'll talk about that with Scott Carter. And we'll hear from the Buccaneers as well. They are over there in New Orleans, been getting ready all week. Tristan Wirfs chatted with the media yesterday, had some interesting things to say, so we'll play some of that. We'll play some Baker Mayfield, some Liam Cohen, some Mike Evans, give you a little flavor for what the guys – we miss them. You know, we didn't get to see them this week because they're in New Orleans, so we'll play that for you. So, but let's get it going with the season opener tonight as the Lightning take on the Carolina Hurricane up there in Raleigh, where they've been for a few days prepping and preparing. And I'm excited to see what this team is all about. Now, I'm going to caution Lightning fans to not get too excited right away because my thinking is, my guess is, with all the new faces and all the new line combinations, some, reuniting, like McDonough, I think it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit. And obviously they're going up against one of the better teams in the league in Carolina tonight. They're at home. So do I expect them to win tonight? No, I don't. I expect there to be some growing pains with Jake Gensel. I expect there to be some growing pains with Connor Geeky and JJ Moser, the new guys coming over for Sergey. I expect there to be some growing pains with a power play that was historically good last year, the best power play in the league, one of the best in the history of the league. Steven Stamkos obviously is gone, and now we don't even know who's going to be playing on the that side that for the right-handed shot side of the power play. Could be Darren Radish. It could be could be Connor Geeky. Could be any number of players. It could be Jake Gensel. They've tried a lot of different combinations, and they'll probably go through a lot of different machinations of this power play in the first month and a half until they kind of dial it in. I think it's going to be in a work in progress all year long. But the focus of Julien Brisebois when he made all these changes was to make this a better team 5-on-5. They were fifth worst in the league last year in 5-on-5 goals against. You're not winning anything like that. I believe in the last 20 years, the lowest any Stanley Cup winning team has been in a 5-on-5 defense is 11th. So, yeah, being in the low 20s ain't going to help you.
Right.
And that's why they made the moves that they did. They had to get better defensively, 5-on-5, and that'll come at the cost of the power play. Now, will that make you a better regular season team? Maybe not, but it should make you a better playoff team. And obviously the Lightning know that's what it's all about. You get in the tournament and then you play your way into a Stanley Cup championship. And I know you look the last couple of years and you say, well, 2 consecutive first-round losses. I think those have different flavors and tastes, to be honest with you. The Toronto losing 4 games in overtime to Toronto is just like, that's a once in a lifetime thing. That's just, overtime games. Yeah, overtime games are, once again, 5-on-5 hockey for the most part, overtime games. There's not a lot of penalties called. So you got to be good 5-on-5. And I think that's what the emphasis is on this team right here. They've got to be better 5-on-5, and that's a big part of playoff hockey. So they lose that series to Toronto with a series that I thought they were the better team. So I believe they should have, and I think most people would tell you that they outplayed Toronto. And then last year you lose a tough series to the team that went on to win the cup and was a very, very good hockey team, the Florida Panthers. And those were very competitive games. And I can make the argument that the Lightning played them tougher than anybody. So were they, first round losers again? So you're saying they're the 16th best team in the league? No, they're way better than that. Yeah. I would say, as I look around the league and the changes that were made, and you don't know how all these, additions will help or hurt teams. You just don't know. But I believe in the core of this hockey team. I still believe Vasilevsky is a top 3 goalie, if not the best goalie in the game. I still believe Victor Hedman is a top 5 defenseman in this league. I still believe Nikita Kucherov is the best playmaker in the game and led the league in scoring. I still believe Braden Point is a 50-point scorer. I still believe Anthony Cirelli is one of the best two-way players in the game. They've got, I believe Ryan McDonough is one of the best defensemen in the game. And so there's so much positive here, but this is a team sport, and guys have to learn how to play together and have to learn how to maximize their potential. This Gensel, Point, Kucherov. You look at some of the puck possession they had in the preseason. It's hard to tell how it's going to translate in the regular season. So I'm so interested to see how it goes down tonight. But I think that line has the potential to be a top 3 line in this league. With the way Kucherov can play make, and the way Gensel can help out in the forecheck and keep the puck in the zone. The more zone time for these 3 guys, the more chances they're going to have to create chances and score goals. I think they can be an extremely potent line in this league. So I'm excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, if you've got a line that you're throwing out regularly, excuse me, I'm getting choked up over hockey talk already this season. If you've got Point, Kucherov, and Gensel, and you're throwing them out there regularly as your number 1 line, that's going to be I don't care what defensive line you're going up against on the other side. That's going to be a potent scoring line right there.
And and they're going to be better defensively, which is, that line in particular. So that's what's exciting is that has a possibility to be the best line and maybe not the highest scoring, but I'll say the best, plus minus, go by whatever analytics you want to go by. Yeah. So it's exciting. I think if you're a Lightning fan, it's not a rebuild, it's a retooling. And yes, it's going to suck to not see Stammer out there. Absolutely. And Sergey. But hopefully less turnovers, less odd man rushes. And I think Cooper said something the other day that kind of caught my ear. And I think it was a problem last year and has been for a couple of years, is the lack, the generous gift of time and space the Lightning have allowed defensively. I don't know if it's been a philosophy to back up. I mean, Chief and I talk about this all the time. I'm so sick of watching defensive players and just back up and not challenge the offensive players. They come into the zone or move on or drive to the net. It just seems like it's a constant give up of time and space, and they're not closing that space. It's just too much. There's too much of it, and I think there's been offensive or a intentional concentration to take that away. And obviously, the best defensive teams do that. But you got to be great skaters. You got to be strong. You've got to be savvy. You've got to be good defensive hockey players. It's not, otherwise they'll just abuse you and go right by you. So you got to be good. And there's nuance to that, to the game of taking away time and space and not allowing opportunities on the other end. So let's see how the Lightning do in that tonight. That's something I'm going to look really close at. Are they closing down that time and space and making it difficult for teams to play against them? I mean, that's, to me, when the Lightning were at their best, they suffocated you with their skating. They were just constantly up in your face. And taking away time and space is not necessarily just knocking the crap out of people constantly and hitting them. It's playing great positional hockey and just constantly being in their face and not allowing these great playmakers and skaters in the game to have their head up, looking around, making plays. That's when you get in trouble. That's when you give up odd man rushes. So that's going to be a concentration of this team, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see what Connor Geekie can do. This kid's got an edge to him, man. He's got an edge to him. That fight in preseason, man, he just tuned that dude up so much so that he got a 10-minute misconduct. I mean, it was. And he went over the boards, got a game suspension for it because he wanted to stick up for his player. You like that edge. You've seen it in his junior hockey career. He did it in the World Championships as well. And he'll learn when he can do it and when not to do it and how to do it to avoid suspension. But you like a guy with that 6'4", 215 pounds, and he's 20 years old, and he's got that edge to him, and he can score. He's got skills. And when he gets with the Lightning skating instructors and improves his side to side and lateral skating, like Braden Point has done, like all these guys that have come in and their skating improves when they're with the Lightning, and they learn these nuances of skating in the NHL and being strong on the puck and being able to move faster and better, he's going to become a much better player. So, yeah. Now, could this go the other way? Could there just be real lack of chemistry? Yeah. Could there be a lack of leadership? Could there be finger pointing because Stamkos isn't in there? Yeah. I mean, all these things can happen. Do they lose a lot of games and start questioning what's going on and lose their confidence? Yeah, all that can happen. But they still got some pretty good leaders in that room, and McDonough and Hedman, the new captain. So let's see what happens. This is what's fun about playing games, right? And the newness. We've had the tears, and of course on October 28th, when Stammer comes back, the tears will flow again, right? But through this transition of winning cups and salary cap constraints, which kind of sucks, don't you? If there wasn't a salary cap, if you could imagine just keeping all these great players that we've had to give away because of the salary cap, if we could, God, what a dynasty this team would have been. But them's the rules, right? That's what happens. And as much as other teams would like to yell and scream about how we obfuscate the salary cap and with long-term injury, blah, 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 everybody does.
Hey, everybody can do it, and everybody does do
right.
it. So it's
part of the rules.
It's an even playing field. And I think the key here for the Lightning, like a lot of teams that have made some massive changes to their lineups over the offseason, is just give them some time. I think you mentioned it at the onset. This thing may not take off in the first 2 weeks of the season while these guys are getting used to playing with each other, while the coaches are getting used to coaching some of these guys and seeing how they react with each other. So it may take a few weeks for things to start clicking. And if it does, that's okay, because there's a lot of other teams in the league that are going through the same thing right now.
Right. Exactly. That's the other thing. There's, salary cap is for everybody. So other teams, I mean, the Panthers have lost key players and they'll continue to lose key players as they go through it. They just signed for Hagee. Which is good for him, former Lightning player, really is, it's been quite a journey for him. Kind of a Marty St. Louis journey for him, but he's one of the best. And, imagine if the Lightning could have held on to him. They didn't want to give him away. They couldn't afford him, know? So, God, can you imagine having him on? The players that have gotten away. Oh, my Lord.
So you brought up Connor Geekie earlier. I wanted to ask you about him. Where do you think he fits into this whole thing?
Well, I think they've had him playing on the third line.
Right.
Let me check out the latest line rushes. If they've had them already this morning, I don't know. I'll see if I can find those. Yeah, we'll get them to you a little bit later on.
Okay.
I think he fits in the third line, and we'll see, what these new line combinations look like. Connor Sheary, who's played with some big time talent, will move up. He's got to answer the bell. That's, he was very much a disappointment last year, had some injuries, some hand injuries that could really affect how you play, especially if you're not the biggest player in the world. You got to really count on that skill. So we'll see how he works out. That's why I think it's going to be fun to watch. And I started this monologue with some caution, right? There's going to be maybe a couple of bad goals and odd man rushes tonight as guys get communication down, blah, blah, blah. So don't expect the world in this first month, but look for moments of, okay, this looks good. This, they're going to have to tweak this. And I think Cooper's one, obviously the longest tenured coach in the league, 2 times Stanley Cup champion. I mean, this guy obviously knows what he's doing, and he's dialed into his team and how they perform best. And he is not afraid to make changes on the fly, line combinations. And I think there's going to be a lot of experimenting this first month and a half, 2 months of the season to see what works best. So it's going to be a work in progress. So sit back and enjoy hockey season. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, the Stars got beat Nashville last night 4-3.
How'd Stammer play?
He didn't play too terribly. I can give you his
what was his plus minus?
That's what everybody's interested in, isn't it? Let me find him on the score sheet here. 3 shots on goal. I don't have his plus minus or no points.
No points, 3 shots on goal. Okay.
But 3 shots. So
and we wish him the best. We're not sitting
sure.
here going, oh, see, no, none of that. And that's going to be an interesting team to watch because I think they're very talented. Yeah. And they've got a chance to do some damage with his leadership. I'll be interested to see how Nashville progresses. So, and then everybody's got a jump start on the Lightning. So they're not opening up till tonight. So
right.
They've been having games since Tuesday. All right. Let's transfer over to the Bucs. And as you know, they have been in New Orleans all week long, getting ready for this game. They're working out at Tulane Stadium. The weather's been good. They've had a lot of preparation time. They've had a lot of bonding time. Yeah. And I said this yesterday. I think you'll hear
their families with them.
Yeah,
which was nice. Yeah.
Either with them if they like, or somewhere else.
Somewhere safe though.
Yeah, somewhere safe. And the Bucs have done a terrific job of getting hotel rooms for their families and their pets and getting everybody out of harm's way, so the Bucs can concentrate on football, because this is an enormous game. I mean, they're all big in the NFL, but this is an enormous game if you look at the juxtaposition of this schedule, because you're getting ready to go into the heart of the schedule. And this is a division game. And I don't want to say that you blew one last week, but you had plenty of opportunities to go on a short week and get a road divisional win against the Falcons, and you didn't get it done. You had many opportunities to get it done. You didn't get it done. We've rehashed that. So, but I don't get a sense at all that this team is like, oh, God, how did we lose that game? And there's a hangover to it at all. And I think the storm maybe redirected them anyway. And now that they've been together and bonding, I expect them to play at a very high level. And I said this yesterday, and I'll repeat it. And I don't mean to sound, discompassionate in any way, but these guys need to go out and focus on football and play a tight, clean game and get this win. Spencer Rattler is getting his first start in the NFL at home, which may add a little bit more pressure, honestly. Mm-hmm. And, the Saints are hurting as much as the Buccaneers. I mean, we can go over this, the latest triage of the
injury report.
Oh my God. It's like both teams. Where is the damn thing? Here it is. Graham Barton has a hamstring, did not practice again on Thursday. But Rob Hainsey is 2 years of starting under his belt, so you would hope that he will be fine. Luke Gedeke practiced fully, Still don't know if he's going to be able to get out of concussion protocol, so we'll see if it's him or Schooley in this week. Cansey played practice for full again. I think he's going to play, and that's going to be a huge, huge piece of the puzzle for Todd Bowles to get interior pressure on Spencer Rattler. And if you can push the pocket with Vita Vea and Cansey, okay, and now your outside guys contained because Rattler can run, don't be, Diaby, JTS especially. Damn, he is not a smart football player. When you watch the All-22 and he's, they're trying to run outside on him, and it's so easy to do. He either flies out, gets knocked out of the hole. He doesn't hold his ground, tries to go inside sometimes with his quickness because he can't do it with the strength at the point of attack. And that, that usually allows a running back to get outside. And even his rush lanes are not great. So he's got to be better. And they've got to, if you can contain him, like you saw the Broncos do to Baker Mayfield, get the push up the middle and then contain him. He's got nowhere to go. He's got to beat you from the pocket. That's going to be a home run, and let him throw you some picks because he'll do that. And if the Bucs don't come away with at least one pick and should have two, then they're not doing their job. So Cansey playing is going to be huge. Jalen McMillan, it was limited hamstring. Trey Palmer did not practice concussion. He's not going to play. Rashad White did not practice. He's got a foot injury. So this one looks like it's going to be on Bucky Irving. And you know what? The more carries, the better. So I expect Bucky Irving to have a really, really big day. Every one of his over bets for me this week, which have been hitting almost every week. Jordan Whitehead has a groin, was limited. Winfield was limited. If neither one of those guys play, yikes.
Yeah.
That's I think Winfield has a chance to play, but he's still been limited all week. So I'd rather, I think he needs a full practice before he's going to say he's ready to go. Obviously, Derek Carr is not playing. Willie Gay, linebacker, fully practiced full. Will Harris, safety, did not practice. Taysom Hill did not practice. Kamara was limited. He's got a hip and a hand, so he's going to be limited even if he plays in this game. So, again, Shaheed, between Kamara and Shaheed, they are the entire offense.
Yep.
And he was limited as well. So, again, backup quarterback, limited weapons, you got to get this win. And also Pete Werner, their fine linebacker, did not practice with a hamstring. So that's twice he hasn't practiced all week. So
all week, yeah.
Both teams are banged up. I'm not saying the players have any remote chance of doing this because I think they're locked in and they're experienced. But it's not an excuse. The Hurricanes should not be an excuse for them. I mean, there are people dealing with real problems. And frankly, most of the players are not. They've flown to New Orleans, staying in a 5-star hotel. Their practices have been fine. They've been out on the field. Their preparation should be better, honestly. There's no distractions at home. Their families are in good spots. I mean, are they worried a little bit about their property? Maybe. But I'm sure they've got plenty of people looking after them, paid handsomely to do so.
Oh, sure.
So, I mean, they should be fine, and I think they will be fine. And I expect them to be professionals and go out and do this. And if they play a shoddy game, I really, I don't want to hear about the storm and all this. I know that sounds bad, but because you don't know what's going through people's minds specifically. But I think these guys have been through this enough. They've been through this enough. They know what the score is. They're mentally tough enough. And I say this with all, credit given. The organization has done everything possible to make them be able to focus on football. So let's go get a huge divisional win. There's no reason the Bucs should not win this game convincingly. Mm-hmm. They're a good football team. Good football teams, though, need to be consistent. They can't go out there and do what they did against Denver. That was inexcusable. They all said it. It's not just me saying, they said it out of their mouths. Inexcusable, will never happen again. Okay, we don't want to see that flat performance this week, and I don't think we will. I really like the Bucs this week. I think they're in a really good spot. Look, the Saints have kind of had their number in the regular season. I get it, not as much as of late, but this should be a game where the Bucs meet their intensity And the only way they get beat in this game is if they get out physical. And the Saints have done that before. And they're going to try to intimidate. They're going to take cheap shots. They're going to try to be physical and out physical you. The Bucs know this. This is not, going to be one for the faint of heart. This is going to be a nasty NFC South Saints Bucs slobber knocker. It's a slobber knocker. And I think the Bucs are up for it. I think they're up for it. They've got 10 days to lick their wounds, and the Saints are coming off a short week. Go get it.
The Bucs are coming off of a long week, so you've got that. Plus, this is the third. It's the third rookie quarterback the Saints or the Bucs have now met this year. Of course, beating Jaden Daniels in the first week, which now you've lost to Bo Nix. You beat Jaden Daniels. Everybody thought it'd be the other way around. I mean, at this point, at least. And now you're going in with Spencer Rattler's first NFL start. By the way, also, JP, the Saints are starting Connor McGovern at center. He's only been in with the Saints for 2 weeks. So there's a lot of unfamiliarity with him, the offensive line, the blocking schemes, plus a rookie quarterback in his first NFL start. There's a lot of things that could go wrong on the Saints offensive line. You got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right, before we get to the break, I want to hit these great questions here from our fantastic listeners. William Madden, thank you, buddy, for getting up this morning. I hope you got through the storm okay. Says, hey, JP, great show. As always, do you see the Rays being sold because the owner does not want to put in money to repair the trop? Great thought. Great thought. Now he's got to repair the trop, and he's got a $700 million mortgage, which he reminds us about all the time. So the answer is yes. I see this being, and again, if it's sold to the people that have been the suitors, they do not want to build in St. Petersburg. And I think this storm and the real priorities of Tampa or of St. Petersburg and Pinellas may give them an out to say, okay, we got other priorities if the Rays want to go elsewhere to Hillsborough County, which, by the way, there is some money, not a lot, but there's opportunities for private people to build stadiums too. So don't forget about that. People with lots of money. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But I think I think the storm and the damage definitely affects because as we know with Stu. And by the way, somebody put up that the pieces of the roof fabric are already on eBay going for $1,000.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. Stu found a new revenue stream. Maybe we bring in some free agents this year, paid for by the ripped roof. Man's a genius when it comes to making money.
As soon as I read there were pieces of it blowing into the freeway, onto the highway and stuff around it, I was like, somebody's going to be collecting those and selling them, or at least trying to. I thought that immediately.
For $500, people had it on there for $350, $1,000. I'm like, seriously? Michael LaRue says, I went to a Rays game in June and noticed the fabric roof was ripped open. I'll post the picture on your Twitter. Yeah, the guy who designed it, the engineer, says it was only designed to go for 25 years. It's well beyond its shelf life. And, of course, they didn't replace it. Shocking development. Every time it rained, it poured. That's one of the reasons that upper deck wasn't open, because when it rains, it pours that down the upper deck. Yeah, that so poorly designed. Yeah. So glad nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt, and that's the best part of it.
Yep.
And now they'll just have to deal. Where are they going to play? We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. We have some thoughts on that and what the ramifications are on a few things. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Scott Carter's going to join us for our G's Law Group Gator Report, and we'll zero in on the Gators and Tennessee, one of the great rivalries in college football. And we're brought to you by the G's Law Group. If you have any issues with your insurance companies, give them a call. The G'sLawGroup.com is the website. Email them or contact them for a free case consultation. They'll let you know if you have a case against your insurance company, because you probably do. And if you get in an accident, any of those issues at all, call the G's Law Group. Great attorneys, local, and they get results. G's Law Group. Offices, Tampa, St. Pete, non-attorney spokesman. Back at 3 September is here, and it's time to celebrate with the stunning birthstone of the month. It's Sapphire at the Gold and Diamond Source. Known for their natural beauty and glamorous allure, Sapphire's truth, sincerity, and faithfulness make it the perfect stone for September. During the 40th anniversary, you can find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and its quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or just to treat yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love. At the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Tarpon Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on here on this Football Friday. Hope you guys are getting your power back. I think I saw yesterday 71% of folks in Hillsborough and similar number in Pinellas County still without power, which is one of the reasons we talked about this yesterday. USF is moving their game to Camping World Stadium in Orlando because Ray J is fine. As we reported yesterday, Ray J came through the storm fine. The field's fine. Everything's ready to go. But getting vendors in there and getting first responders to work the game is the biggest issue because obviously they have bigger priorities. Yep. So I think that was the main issue that made them move the game to Camping World, which is good because USF fans can obviously get there. It's a crappy stadium. We all know this, but at least you USF fans should be able to make it. And I'm not exactly sure how all the ticketing ramifications are going to be, but I'm sure if you want to get in and go to the game, it's going to be rather cheap to get in. And they're going to play a crucial game against Memphis, and they got to win it. They got to win it. So now for those guys, a much bigger distraction, obviously. And they've been in Orlando already, the USF, so at least they won't have to travel far for the game. But they're going to play at 3:30. And, of course, the Gators will be playing a night game in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium. And, boy, is that going to be one hell of an atmosphere. We welcome in Scott Carter for our Jeeves Law Group Gator Report from FloridaGators.com. What's up, Scotty? How are you? You come through this storm okay?
Yeah, guys, did well, thankfully. Nothing too major up here compared to what you guys had, obviously. But yeah, going up to Knoxville, the Gators leave this afternoon. So kind of a normal trip. They did adjust some things the last couple of days of practice, but they got all their prep work in. So nothing too out of the ordinary up here in Gainesville.
So no power losses like for the team, at least the university. They worked out, got all practice scheduled in. Everything's good to go. No major distractions. They're good to go.
Yeah, other than changing their practice times a little bit, I think they moved one up on Wednesday and moved one back yesterday. So otherwise, they're lucky. We did get lucky. Helene was a lot worse in Gainesville. So you never know how these things go, as you guys know.
That's crazy. Bananas. What about the injury situation for the Gators this week? Who's healthy? Who's not?
Well, they're getting some guys back that they can use at Tennessee. Obviously, in the receivers room, you got Trey Wilson and Aiden Mizell, both expected back. So that will definitely help against the Tennessee defense that leads the SEC, is ranked second nationally. They're only giving up about 228 yards a game. So that's a big challenge for Florida's offense. One concern is their starting left tackle, Austin Barber, who's been probably their most consistent lineman this year. He is questionable, so we'll see if he plays or not. If he can't, you'll have to see who slides in there, probably Cameron Waits. So we'll see. But I think the key for Florida, JP, is just going up there and try to get off to another nice start like they did against you at the UCF last week. And, keep it going for 4 quarters, because you can't have the letdown they had in the second half last week. They still won comfortably. But in Knoxville, you're going to have to go up there and get 60 minutes. And getting off to a quick start and keeping the fans off your back is going to be huge for Florida on Saturday.
Yeah, them Tennessee fans will be riled up. There's no doubt about that. And coming off a loss last week to Arkansas, Tennessee, that was obviously a huge upset. They were ranked number 4 going down there. They collapsed in the second half. How do you think that affects them? I would think that it just makes them a little more ornery.
Yeah, I would think so. I think you're going to see a pretty fired up Tennessee team. The Florida-Tennessee rivalry has always been a fun one. But, you look at Tennessee fans, and they still, every year, it doesn't matter what the team's records are. I mean, they just go at Florida like crazy on social media and stuff. But yet the Gators have won 17 of the last 19. So it's been a very lopsided series. But they lost the last time up in Knoxville back in 2022. And, this time they opened as 16.5-point underdogs, which, believe it or not, is the highest Tennessee has been favored in this series since the last 50 years. So you don't see that kind of spread very often on Tennessee's favor. But again, they were favored by about 6 points last year at the Swamp, and Florida took care of them. So it's one of those unique rivalries where anything can happen. And as we saw last week in the SEC and really college football, anything can happen, right?
Damn right.
Yeah, that's true in the NFL this year too. Scott, looking at the vulnerabilities I think Tennessee has in the secondary, you look at the Arkansas game, they threw for 297 yards against the Vols. The Gators got I really like Elijah Badger, the Arizona State transfer. I followed him a little bit in the Big 12 over at Arizona State. I really like his abilities. Yep. I think he's got some potential to have a good game, have a big game against the Vols, I think, with that secondary. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the guys they're going to definitely want to get the ball to. I mentioned, Wilson earlier is their underneath guy, but they're going down the field more to Mizell and to Badger. So I think both of those guys are going to have to show up in some way. And of course, the Florida quarterbacks, these two quarterback systems, oftentimes they don't work very well, but it's actually been working really nice for the Gators. Those guys in the last 2 wins, they're completing about 88% of the passes. I'm talking about Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
They both thrown for over 600 yards on the season. One of only 2 schools. Texas has a couple of quarterbacks who have done that.
They're pretty good.
Pretty good quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just it seems to be working right now, but they're going to need that. They're going to need, I think, Montreal Johnson to show up in the run game. But I think the Gators are going to have to be creative guys on offense Saturday, because this is a physical Tennessee defense. I mentioned earlier they're second in the country in total yardage allowed per game, and they're coming, like we talked about, they're coming off a loss, so they're checkerboarding the stadium up there. I think it's only the 8th time in program history they've done that, so it's going to be a fired up crowd, and it's going to be a huge challenge for Florida, but. Getting Elijah Badger and some of those skill makers or skill players involved early is, I think, imperative for Florida.
Yeah, especially at the quarterback position, communication is key, and it's going to be so freaking loud in there. Obviously, Graham Mertz has handled this very, very well, but maybe DJ hasn't been in an atmosphere like this. How do you think that affects him at all?
Yeah, I think it's going to definitely be something new for DJ Lagway. Playing at Mississippi State at 11 a.m. is not exactly like 7 p.m. So there's going to be about 100 people there. But he's handled everything pretty nicely so far. And I do think Graham Mertz, this is a game that has his signature all over it if the Gators somehow go up there and win. I think Graham will have to really play a smart, efficient game, do some things, as a leader, just to make a difference. It's like I said, to me, it's going to be a tough game for Florida to win. But we all know the storyline besides the matchup. Every game is still the most important for Billy Napier. If you go up there and win against Tennessee, that's a signature win for him in a game that not many people are giving the Gators much of a chance. And then they come home and host Kentucky, which is, on paper, at least winnable. So I just see these next 2 games before the second bye week and that trip to Jacksonville to play Georgia. I think these are going to be 2 key games to determine the final narrative on this season for the Gators.
And you talked about running the football, and it's been, it's one of these series where it matters, right? Running the football matters. It's FSU and Miami's been another series like that. Almost every season, the team that runs the ball better wins the game. And if I'm looking at that, I'm probably going to say Tennessee has a much better running game. The Gators have still struggled in that area, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee does. They're running the ball well. Don't have the stats right here in front of me, but I know they're in the top half of the SEC, up there. I think they're averaging 46 points a game, guys, which I think is second, third at FBS. Now, obviously, last weekend at Arkansas, the Hogs did a few things defensively to slow them down. I think they're going to have to slow the running game down. And also, you've got to keep, and I'm going to butcher the name, Nico Ivaleva, I think is how you pronounce it.
That was pretty
this guy, we're all going to be pronouncing his name a lot because I think as he progresses, he may be a Heisman candidate next year. I think he's that good. But we've only seen glimpses of him so far. I think it's going to be huge for Florida to not let him just take over the game because he's the kind of quarterback that has given Florida trouble in the recent years. And I keep thinking of Jaden Daniels. He's not Jaden Daniels, but he likes to get outside the pocket, kind of the same body type, 6'6", kind of a tall, slender guy with a big arm.
I'm looking at these SEC standings, Scott, and it's a little weird. It's not what we expected, right? There's Alabama at 1-1, Ole Miss 1-1. After last week, it's a crapshoot now. It's Texas A&M. Did we see this coming? Atop the SEC at 3-0, Texas 1-0, LSU 1-0, Georgia 2-1, Arkansas 2-1, right? So it is Vanderbilt 1-1. I mean, it is completely up for. There's Florida right in the middle at 1-1. I mean, if they could steal this game against Tennessee somehow, or just win next week against Kentucky, I'm not saying anybody's going to the national championship or playoff, but point is there is so much parity in the SEC right now that I think week to week it's going to be a dogfight for every team. What are your thoughts league wide?
I totally agree, and I think it's only going to get more like this as this new college football landscape
I agree.
Kind of unfolds. And if you're a fan, I mean, how can you not love that game last week? I mean, Vanderbilt knocking off Alabama. I mean, I remember when I saw that, the first score I saw was like they were winning by, I think, halftime. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on there? So I plugged into the game. And I mean, guys, I always tell people like the most shocked I've ever been at the result of any sporting event in my lifetime was when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson.
Yes.
Back then, man, I never saw Mike Tyson losing, and especially not to Buster Douglas. This game the other day, that might be like number 2 on my list now. It's just hard to think of another sporting event that surprised me as much as that. I mean, so to speak to your bigger question, JP, I think every game in the SEC is starting to be more and more of a toss-up. I mean, there's still going to be clear favorites. Like a lot, Tennessee should win on this game on Saturday night.
Yes.
I mean, sad that, if Florida goes up there and plays well, I mean, it's not going to shock me nearly as much as Vanderbilt knocking off Alabama. So I don't see it as, it's a winnable game. Florida's had a lot of history up there. And one thing you sense, I've been to, I think, 9 or 10 of these games in Knoxville now. And one thing you sense when Florida does something well up there, over the years, it just seems like Tennessee starts to kind of crumble. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's so important for Florida to start fast up there.
I agree. And it's, it's so interesting. This Gator defense has been so maligned. But last week against UCF and a quarterback that they've seen before in KJ Jefferson, they got it done against UCF. What did that win do for Billy Napier and for this defense in general? Did they do anything demonstratively different on defense? Are they playing younger guys, different scheme? What is there anything different about this defense besides them holding UCF to 13 points?
Yeah, I mean, it was by far, I think, the best defensive effort Florida's put on the field in probably a couple of years. That's certainly one of the best under Billy Napier. And I think a lot of it goes back to those bye-week practices when they tightened up some of the communication. Specifically, they turned up the intensity between plays a lot. What they were doing before that game, they were calling in the plays almost as the offense was getting set up, and they were running guys in and out. Well, they were starting to get them in a lot sooner against UCF, and you saw that take shape. They were more settled by the time UCF snapped the ball.
Well, that'll make a difference. Yeah,
I mean, it's a huge difference. I mean, I think so. I just think they were on point. You hear coaches love to talk about gap integrity. I heard that about 3 or 4 times this week, but it's true. You've got to keep on your assignment, fill your gap, do your job. It sounds simple, and it kind of is, but when you're not set, when you're kind of hustling players in and out and you have bad communication, it impacts it negatively. But I think they worked out some of those intangibles, and they also just came out, guys. They played really fiery. You could tell they were pumped to play the game. They made some big plays, and it just carried over throughout the game. So they're going to need that kind of energy for the rest of the season.
Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com joining us here. What do you think of that classic SEC shootout we're going to see this week, Texas and Oklahoma?
Oh, man.
I'm like, what?
That is pretty funny. They're building an SEC rivalry. Well, it's one of the best rivalries in college football, obviously, and now it's in the SEC umbrella. So just add another straw to the drink for Craig.
Another $100 million of revenue. Why don't you just say that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's a huge, and we've talked enough on this show, guys, where I think, we all kind of see where this is going. And, there was some news this week where, I think it's even going to go more and more. I think the SEC commissioner and the Big Ten, they met yesterday up in Nashville, or they were supposed to. So it's just, I think these two power leagues or whatever they're going to be, and these kind of matchups each week and this kind of parity, just get used to it. If you love big time college football, that's what it's going to become. And that's just where we are.
I love that, because the one good thing about this, if we can redraw all the lines again and keep all these great, and that's one thing good about Texas and Oklahoma going to the same conference. You keep the rivalry going. It's not, we lost Pitt in West Virginia. We lost Penn State and Pitt. We lost a lot of these great games that we lost Texas, Oklahoma for a while. We lost Texas A&M. There's a lot of the big time rivalries that went away. And if they redraw this thing and include all the big teams like they should and renew these rivalries and these regional battles, that's what college football is all about. We don't want to lose that. So hopefully with the Big Ten and the SEC getting together, boy, we're not allowed in those meetings, Scott. I mean, you're the press. You should be in there.
I don't know if they wanted to see. Somebody broke it last week, but I haven't really.
No, there's no way they wanted that out. No.
I don't think they wanted that out. But and also you've seen some proposals lately about maybe a 70-team Super League, and I don't know. Maybe they'll meet somewhere in the middle, but I think ultimately, when it all is said and done, I think you're looking at about 40 programs that can carry it, and you have all those great rivalries that you just mentioned, and maybe you fit some of those schools that can still keep football programs onto the schedule once in a while. But I mean, I don't think anybody's ever gonna. No one's gonna cry if we never see another, Georgia and McNeese game or Florida and Tennessee Tech. Nobody's ever going to miss that game,
except for the fans of Tennessee Tech and McNeese State.
Not the players, because
and they'll miss those checks, but that's just a sign of the times, and I think that day is past. That age.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, there were so many great things about college football yesteryear. The nostalgia is what it is. But as we moved into this bold new world, there is a need for structure. There is a need for salary caps. There is a need for all those things that, restrict movement of the players, because you can't have this total chaos that we have now. It's not good for college. I believe it's hurting the product. Because, guys come in, they have much less time to learn the system, and they're not professionals. So it's not like they can be in their playbook 24/7 like NFL players can when they're picking up a new system. It takes years for college players to learn it. And when you see, you change 30-40% of the roster every year, which of course teams will do because they're pressured to win now. It just, I think it depletes the level of play and execution. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of that right now. Especially the development part is not as prominent now in the game. And I do think ultimately, when the new system emerges, I think you need that to be an important part of it, because, I mean, it's still college football. The guys who are on the roster are still in school at their respective universities or colleges. So you hope that they're there for 3 or 4 years and be a part of the football program, be a part of the university community. And it's just, I get the pressure to win, but eventually this new system is going to have some of the old in it, but it's also just going to have a lot of the new, I'll be curious to see, like everybody else, how it eventually lands.
Well, I want the economic system needs to be new, but the traditions need to be old. And I think you can do both.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that college football is so popular. You don't want to lose,
right?
But also, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. So, but like I've told people, like, to me, the product has never been more popular. The money's flowing in, so you can only screw this up at this point, right?
Which they've done. Yeah. They've screwed it up pretty well. I mean, none of this had to happen.
If they screw it up to where it falls below some other sports, and all the people in charge in this era should be banned.
Yeah, exactly. But like we did not think that we were going to get recruits suing head coaches. Yeah.
No,
So
no,
how's
that's
that lawsuit going for Billy Napier, by the way? I mean,
I know, yeah, it's been quiet lately. I
ridiculous.
think he filed an appeal, so who knows where it is now. I'm guessing that the way the world works these days, I'm guessing that news will come back out. There'll be a big thing during the Georgia-Florida week.
Oh, Georgia, right? Exactly.
That's the way it usually works.
Well, I don't even know, where'd that kid go.
He's at Georgia.
He's
Yeah,
at,
he's at
he's
Georgia.
at Georgia now. Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
So
Florida,
you know,
oh my God.
there, so they'll want to get some news, I'm sure, out during that week.
Well, they tried him out in ATN for the press conference, probably. Yeah. Oh my
Hey
God.
man, nothing surprising me, JP.
All right. Anything else Gator fans need to know about this game? What, 7:30 kickoff ESPN? Is that correct? Or is it
7
ABC?
actually, a little earlier.
7 o'clock.
7. But yeah, Neyland Stadium, man, and just a big game for a lot of reasons. But I think, as I said earlier, I mean, Florida goes up there and can win this game. You're looking at things a lot differently about the Gators.
Oh God, yes.
And it's amazing if they were to win this game, they would actually be ahead of Tennessee in the SEC. Who thought
A lot
that
of teams, yeah, 2-1. Oh my Lord.
Yeah. But
Napier-
it's a tall task.
Napier could take his house off the market. That'd be great for him. Anyway, all right. It's gonna be. By the way, what's the difference between Tennessee orange and Gator orange? Gator orange is like a little bit
The hex
more.
code.
Yeah,
What's the different hex codes?
it's a little bit lighter to tin. It's a little more creamier orange, kind of like
Creamier
those
orange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Gators are. I think it's a little darker, brighter orange.
Yeah.
But you can definitely tell a difference when they're all.
You know it when you see it. Yeah. It's like you know it when you see it. All right, Scotty. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Have fun in Knoxville.
See you, fellas.
Put your earplugs in. That place is. Oh, I've actually never been to Neyland Stadium, but I've been there. I've been to the outside of it, never been in it for a big game, so it's definitely on my bucket list. I have to got to go up for one of them Gator Tennessee games because that is loud.
Man, yeah, that would be an experience, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Mike Stover says, yes, conference realignment is also hurting the game, in my opinion. There's a lot of things that are hurting the game of college football, and they need to get it right. They need to get it right. Like this stuff that's going on in Florida State in terms of the lawsuits, that never should have happened. That never should have happened. That, and for whatever you think about Florida State, folks, if you know the facts of the case, it should never have happened. You should have figured this out a long time ago, how to distribute the money to the teams that are producing the revenue.
Right.
And it's such a disparity when it comes to the ACC because, frankly, Florida State and Clemson have invested in their football programs and the other teams have not. The other schools have not. And I could do a whole diatribe about this, about budgets and all these other things. But from the day FSU got into the ACC, they begged, and I mean begged, these other programs to start putting money into their football programs and not their basketball programs. Yeah. The ACC was traditionally a great basketball league back in the day. The North Carolina, Duke, and Wake Forest, and NC State. That's what drove the conference. That's the money that drove the conference. And they were so stuck in that mindset that it was all about basketball. And they, even though they brought Florida State in, it was almost like Florida State was like the mules, to haul the cart along with them. Like they're like, hey, let's go get those guys to bring us the big money so we can still, keep playing basketball and tiddlywinks here and looking down our nose academically at Florida State while they build the pyramids. We'll just, go ahead and they'll be the labor. And that's kind of the way it was. And Florida State was like, okay, guys, you guys need to put some money into your football program. This is where all the money is. And Clemson already had been doing that, clearly. You bring Miami in, they know what it's all about. But these other programs, North Carolina's done a pretty good job, but they've just not really done it.
Right.
And so at that point, they're like, okay, well, then we're driving the money here. We're driving the money cart. Our media rights are being distributed to all of you guys because people are watching FSU games and Clemson games and not so much your games. We have big gates. You don't really have big gates. I mean, you look at the ACC stadiums. They haven't even invested in their stadiums. They're rinky-dink, little stadiums.
Yeah, tiny.
Yeah, compared to the SEC, it just means more. Yeah, you're damn right it does. And so as Florida State's tried to drag these teams kicking and screaming, they just wouldn't do it. So you get to this cataclysmic spot now where it's all about football, and basketball is completely diminished in college in terms of interest and revenue. And now they're like, oh, well, we still need Florida State, Clemson to drive the wagon. Well, you know what? We're tired of driving the wagon. You guys need to get up here and pull a little bit yourselves. So, and if you're not going to do it, then we need to take the money that we deserve.
Right.
But no, Florida State doesn't play well with others. They're suing their conference. Well, yeah, you would too.
Yeah, but it never should have come to that.
No, it never should have come to this. Never. You should have had some leadership within the conference that says, yeah, you know what, Florida State's right. Instead of, cutting some cheesy ass backroom deal with ESPN that sells out the entire conference and then try to defend it in court and try to and skirt your own bylaws by not having full 2/3 membership voting for these really important media deals. So no, I don't. If you understand what's happening, it never should have come to this. Never. So, but here we are. And
JP, I've got a quick present for you here before you go to break. You were asking about the color differences, so I threw this together for you real quick.
Look at you.
So
it's kind of a creamy orange.
Right.
Poor Mike Stover. Look at this. I have to get my gator tattoo touched up. The orange starting to fade into a creamy. Yeah, you look.
It's fading into what's on the right there, isn't it? See, next to Gator orange, Tennessee doesn't look very orange. It looks more yellow.
Yeah.
I should have thrown Longhorns orange up there too.
Yeah, it's all different, right? And there's like patents on these colors, right?
Yes.
There's like numbers like orange 379.
It's all the weird hex color codes. That's what you have to look up, and that's what's copyrighted, and it's insane. And
it doesn't look right if it's not right.
No,
you just can't that's an orange. We'll put that. Nope, that's not the right orange. Yeah, it's very much the same. All right, so that's one big game. We got a lot of other big games to talk about and pick. I want to get into, and we'll do this next. Where are the Rays going to play? How does this storm and the destruction of Tropicana Field affect the ownership of the franchise, the new stadium? I think all of this stuff is in play. So if you guys have some thoughts, light up the comments. We're going to talk about it next. Where will your Rays play? Where do you want them to play? For fans, what would be the best idea? Lots of options out there. All right, we'll take a quick break. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Go to BAMMC.com to get your appointment with Chris Lugo and find out what concierge medicine means to you. Personal plan for your nutrition and your hygiene. Personal plan for your workouts, sleeping, all of that stuff to make you as healthy as you can be. Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Back in 3. Discover a world of elegance and sophistication at the Golden Diamond Source. Whether you're searching for your first piece or celebrating a special milestone, their expert team is here to guide you every step of the way. Navigating the world of fine jewelry can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Their knowledgeable staff is dedicated to helping you choose the perfect piece, ensuring you feel confident and informed. At the Golden Diamond Source, they pride themselves on offering only the highest quality jewelry. From stunning engagement rings to timeless watches, each piece is crafted with precision and care. So take advantage of their 5 years interest-free financing. This means you can get a $5,000 piece and only pay $83 a month. And if you're new to buying diamonds, their first-time buyer program will educate you on the 4 C's: cut, color, clarity, and carat, and help you understand the different shapes and sizes available. Go enjoy the great staff at the Golden Diamond Source. You'll be family forever. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is 2-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Gettys Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Gettys Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Football Friday as we pick up the remnants from 2 storms, Helene and old Uncle Milty, who came through and didn't have the stamina that he had over the Gulf of Mexico, thank God. Although, listen, tons of rain, drop, still flooding issues, lots of people without power. But the storm surge that was expected in Tampa Bay did not materialize, thank God. Some of the overhyping from the mayor, maybe not what we needed.
Yeah.
But away we go.
Bottom line is more people are safe than we thought were going to be safe.
That's what's most important. You know, I think there were more people that died in the tornadoes on the East Coast than actually on the West Coast. So, and that's part of it. You never know when those tornadoes were going to hit, but for the most part, I think a sigh of relief. But it's been a hellacious few weeks for Tampa Bay, and the only good thing is we can take some respite from sports, and we got some really fun stuff coming up this weekend. So I hope you guys get your power back. And you can watch the games or go somewhere and find a little escape from all the horrific stuff that's happened over the last couple of weeks. We are brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. I was texting with Jeff yesterday, and their home has been destroyed in the past couple of weeks. Helene did a number on them. not so much this last week. So they're still worried, digging out from that. But he reminded all of you that, make sure you get everything started early with your hurricane damage. Start clearing things out. Take pictures of all the damage, obviously, first and foremost, and document as much as you can. You can start working with a contractor, even if you don't have a settlement yet. So go ahead and start doing all those things that you need to do to move the process along. And of course, if you don't have flood insurance, make sure you get it. And your homeowner's insurance, you can also file if you've had a window break, if their wind damage caused the water to come in, the rainwater to come in, the fresh water, and did damage, that can go on your homeowner's insurance. Now, the rising water is the flood insurance, the dirty water. So those two things are separate. And again, if you have any issues, give them a call over there. They'll be happy to answer questions. And they will also be happy to shop your insurance around, and maybe they can find you something better. And that customer service is what it's all about. They've been doing this for over 60 years. 813-877-7799, Italiano Insurance. All right, you want to talk some football, partner?
Let's talk some football.
So the Bucks, X's and O's wise, we talked a little bit about this in the open. As far as the injuries go, obviously the big one to Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler gets the start. A more mobile quarterback, and I would very much believe that they have that run package that they use with Taysom Hill will certainly be part of the package this week. They're going to try to shorten the game, muddy it up, be physical, try to win a game where they're probably not going to score a lot of points. Rashid Shaheed is battling an injury. He's a speed guy. Any injury to his legs are going to be a problem. So he's got those issues to deal with. Kamara's got a hip and a hand. So that's going to be an issue. They've got offensive line issues. They've got lots of different injury issues. The Bucs are getting healthier. They're getting healthier. They should get Cansey back this week. They should get Gedeke back this week. So that's all a plus. Now, Todd Bowles has won 3 of 4 against the Saints. The last one last year, you'll remember, with the Bucs wanting to clinch the division, they got beat up physically. Baker threw a couple of picks. They were down 20-0 going into the fourth quarter. It was a freaking dud. And that's what the Saints are going to try to do. They're going to try to muck it up, be physical, and try to intimidate the Bucs. And they've got to meet that intensity. That's first and foremost. I was going to play a little sound here, partner.
Okay.
This is Mike Evans. I'm going to have to probably mess a little with to get to the right points, so bear with me. But
okay. Yep.
I wanted to get some of the voices on from this week just so you can hear how the guys are talking, what they're feeling like. And to me, when I listen to all these interviews, I see a bunch of guys that are freaking locked in and ready to go. See if you agree. Mike Evans.
Okay. First question will come from Rick Stroud.
Hey, Mike, I know you're no stranger to dealing with hurricanes. You guys had to relocate, before and growing up in Galveston. What could you say to your teammates that maybe are going through this first time, and how difficult has this been this past week?
I mean, yeah, it's always unfortunate when a national disaster like hurricanes hit. Just tell the guys to make sure that their family's safe, and then just do all the little things around your house to make sure that your house can come out as best as possible. Like putting your clothes up and your valuable items up, bringing those with you as well. Just try to minimize the loss. But yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. Praying for everybody that's going to go through this, and it's tough. It's not fun.
Yeah, for sure. And then as far as this matchup goes, look, you got a long history, 10 years with the Saints. You've got plenty of guys that you like going up against over there, and Marshawn and others. How much do you embrace this battle? It's been going on for so many years of your career.
I mean, they're a division rival. I mean, it's always, a tough battle. Every time we play them, they always play super physical. And every year I've played against the Saints, they've always had a really great plan defensively against us, to be physical, press me at the line of scrimmage. So I got to come with my best.
Thanks, Mike.
Greg Allman.
Mike, to have these 2 division road games back to back, obviously 2 of the biggest games on your schedule, just makes you how important it is to bounce back and not put yourselves in a hole in the division behind both teams.
Yeah, I mean, we want to get this taste out of our mouth. Obviously last week we felt like we had that game in hand, and offensively we have to do a better job of finishing. So we have to come out with that energy, and we're not even just playing for just football now. We're trying to play for something a little bit bigger. So we got to come out with that mindset to really take advantage of these opportunities.
Thanks, Mike.
Generally.
Hey, Mike, good to see you. Glad you and the family are safe.
Appreciate it.
This isn't the first time that you've not only dealt with a hurricane, but that you've dealt with games and hurricanes concurrently. I know that you were part of when the team evacuated for Irma. You were also part of in 2022 when the team, I believe it was Ian, when they evacuated to Miami. I don't know, what were you able to learn from those experiences as far as, having to kind of lock in, focus, preparation that can help for this?
I mean, it's not. I mean, I just want everybody to be safe at the end of the day. I mean, we obviously have a job to do, so we're going to do that. The games are still going to be played, but that's the hardest thing, just making sure that everybody is good and just praying and hoping for the best. So that's the toughest part. But I just try to stay locked in because I got to be ready.
Thanks.
JC Allen.
Hey, Mike. The last couple of years, you've been used a lot more all around the field in the slot, coming in motion, stuff like that, without kind of giving the game plan away. But do you expect Liam to put you in those situations where, you're moving around a little bit more to kind of get you off Marshawn and give you some better looks?
Nah, it's going to be a lot of the same things. It's about what they do. It ain't about if it's one-on-one the whole game, then that's what we want to get. But we're trying to get away from the safety help and things like that. So that's what we're going to try to do.
And then I asked Baker, who's kind of in charge of making sure you're in check and keeping, people in check against Cam. He said, I don't want that. He said, I want them to go all out. What are your thoughts on that?
What are you saying?
Like, you and Marshawn have gone into in the past. The offensive linemen have gone in with Cam in the past. Like, usually there's someone.
Jordan.
Yeah, usually Tristan's the one that comes over and pulls you guys and said, all right, guys, let's calm down before tempers start to flare. Baker said he wants those tempers going.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's, within the play, I did a bad job in the past of making it go over the play when I shouldn't have. But, yeah, I'm more mature now, and our team is focused on just playing winning ball, and you can't play winning ball when you're getting kicked out and things like that. So you definitely want to have that fire and be physical. And, a little chirping, it never hurts, but definitely got to be smart.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll go to Evan Winter. If media have questions, please raise your hand.
Hey, Mike, Baker said it just boils down to communication when it comes to being on the same page. When the Saints throw different looks, disguises, everything like that. We tack on the fact that it's going to be in New Orleans. Is there anything y'all do differently throughout the week to make sure that communication is good to go, or is it kind of the same old at the end of the day?
It's the same. Each week is a lot of preparation. I can't even explain how much preparation that we do throughout the week, especially away games. Make sure our signals are tight, make sure we know what to expect certain down and distances. So it's just a lot of preparation that goes into each week, especially away games.
Thanks.
JC Allen.
Kind of expanding on that, you got some rookies that are obviously Graham's, playing and Bucky's playing. Some of these younger guys who might be getting their snaps first. Do you think having that week 2 game in Detroit help prepare them for an atmosphere like the Little Caesars Dome or whatever it's called in New Orleans?
Yeah, absolutely. Those big road games and atmospheres like that definitely help with communication and just a feel for, not being able to hear with the crowd noise and things like that. But the Saints fans are just as good as the Lions fans when it comes to making noise and cheering on their team. So I think it's good, practice that we got that in week 2.
Last question from Rod Walker.
Hey, Mike, I know you try to keep your routine as normal as possible as far as sleep and all that, but like tonight, what will it be like just because you want to kind of keep up with what's going on at home, and so you're watching TV late at night or whatever? I mean, what's that? How do you sort of address that?
I'm gonna be asleep. I mean, I ain't take a nap today. We had practice. We had a long morning, so I'm gonna be tired. So I'm definitely gonna be asleep. But my wife might wake me up if it's getting too bad. So hopefully I don't get woken up. That means that it's not as bad as they say it's gonna be. So hopefully it's not as bad. So I hope y'all are all safe and y'all's families are good and pets and things like that.
All right, obviously, that was done before the hurricane actually hit, but you can get a sense that they are locked in. I mean, that's what I get is like they are locked in, and they know what this is all about. And that's why I love this team, man. They have great maturity in their leadership. They've been through all this stuff before. They know how to make plays in big situations. The moments are not too big for these guys, and they got something to play for. They're a talented team. They know. They got. I will be shocked if they come out flat and don't perform well.
No, they look really focused. Evans always looks focused to me when I see his pressers.
Yeah.
As focused as he is, he's always loose. And did we just get a shot from J.C. Allen from SI, our buddy J.C. Allen from SI, taking a shot at the Superdome by calling it the Little Caesar Superdome?
I think so. Yeah.
Surely he knows it's the Caesar Superdome, not the Little Caesar Superdome. Come on, J.C. Better than that.
The Little Caesars. I did kind of miss that actually. The Little Caesars.
Yeah, he goes sit down at that Little Caesar Superdome or whatever it's called. Oh, and Mike Evans kind of laughed.
There's a little difference between the casino and
Right.
the horrible pizza
and the pizza
Cheap
place.
pizza.
I was like, come on, JC, you're better than that.
like how much? Like, have you ever had a Little Caesars pizza?
Oh, you know what? Unfortunately, we eat quite a bit of it.
Do you really?
Well, the kids like it, so I'll order. I mean, I have other preferences for pizza. Like I prefer Papa John's. I don't know if y'all have that over there.
Yeah.
That and
Better
Pizza Hut are probably
ingredients,
my two favorites. But I stay away from Domino's. I try to stay away from Little Caesars, and then CC's, of course, is that's worse than to me than Little Caesars. But the kids like it, so I'll order it sometimes for them.
Yeah, it's cheap for them. Yeah, let them eat that crap. Yeah. I mean, the Little Caesars. Yeah, absolutely.
That just cracked me up, though. I had to address it.
Yeah, I think he's really, really locked in. You want to hear a little Baker?
Yeah, let's do some Baker.
All right, here's some Baker. A couple good pieces in here as well. Stand by.
Okay. First question will come from Greg Allman.
This was done on Thursday.
Hey, Baker, thanks for doing this. I just want to ask you, first of all, I know this is a chaotic week to be relocating like that. Does that make it easier to put Thursday in the past and focus on moving ahead? What does that do to change things, how you prep for the Saints on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, first things first, wanted to make sure everybody was safe and everybody's taking the right precautions and doing what they need to do to get things done. Obviously, with the support of the Glazier family, we were able to relocate here, which was huge. Obviously, they provided travel for the team and your family members and pets as well. So that's big time. Yeah, just to be able to shift the focus there, safety first, and then go on. So yeah, short memory when it comes to the Atlanta game. Obviously, had to watch the tape Monday to correct the things we needed to, and then move forward.
Baker, I know you kind of took a hit and got bent back a little bit at the end of that game Thursday. Obviously, this is a week where having a couple extra days to recover from that, I would think, helps you a lot.
Yeah, obviously not the exact week we were looking at, but a few more days always helps.
Okay, thanks, Baker.
We'll go to Rick Straub.
Hey, Baker, can you tell us what sort of lessons you guys might have learned, from that game? You're a resilient bunch, but when it felt like you took your foot off the gas as an offense, 6 points in the second half, just what you can take from that going forward.
Yeah, no, looking back at the tape, we executed well in the first half. I mentioned to you guys post game, I think we should have had 28 instead of 24. Then looking at the second half, just being very, very close to some of these plays being successful, and instead they weren't. And that's in a tight ball game against a divisional opponent. The game can shift just like it did. So you look back at it and just execution. It wasn't the same thing for us in the second half that it was in the first.
And you've always said this is a resilient group. We saw you guys go through a tough stretch last year, but I mean, being in this situation, being together, in a weird way? Does this just kind of test that resiliency and see how tight you guys can come through this?
Yeah, it's an unbelievable opportunity for us that, we're kind of messing with Kevin Carberry about this one. He just talks about what an opportunity to test our mental toughness. And but it's as cheesy as he might be saying it, it's the reality. And it's, how can you, like I mentioned earlier, how can you make sure that take care of the things you need to before we leave? It's, you have your family safe, and then go from there. And how quickly can you focus on the game plan and execute?
Right. Thanks, Big.
Sarah Walsh.
We'll do one more.
Hey, Baker, kind of along those lines, can you just describe for you personally the biggest challenge in what you're dealing with this week?
Just for our guys, you get into a routine as the season starts, and you understand your body work, what you have to do rehab wise after games. You get into your routine at home when you're practicing, and just that schedule that you normally have, and just having to adjust on the fly. So that's the biggest difference for us. But we just have to deal with it. There's no way around it. So just find a way to make it work. And this is the group that is capable of doing that.
I think he's right. Should not be an issue for them. All right, we're going to do a little fantasy football with Jeff Thedoff here in just a little bit. I want to do, before we hit the break, I wanted to just quickly, talk about where the Rays are going to play. I've just been doing some texting with the folks at the TSA, and the bottom line is they can play at Steinbrenner Field. They would just need the approval of the Yankees to do so. I crossed this bridge many, many years ago, probably 10 years ago when George was still alive, and just wondering if the Braves could, play a couple series in Steinbrenner Field. And they said, yeah, absolutely. We wouldn't keep them from doing that because they're rivals or anything. And I think the Steinbrenner family, obviously having a huge presence here in Tampa, would certainly recognize, the need in a tight situation, and would open, the doors full-heartedly for the Rays to use that facility. And I think that would be the best way to do it, because obviously a huge part of their fan base is in Hillsborough County, and you could really use this as an opportunity to build that fan base even more and play outdoor games. And that stadium is obviously major league ready. They play plenty of spring training games there. There would have to be some additions made, but the cost in putting a roof on the Trop. And by the way, you can't just take the roof off of it and play there. The superstructure is not. They have no drainage there. It's not designed for that.
It's not meant to be an outdoor stadium. Yeah,
it's not meant to. So they're not going to play at Tropicana Field ever again. I would think that's just not feasible. And the cost to put another roof on there would just be, I would think, so prohibitive. And where's the money coming from? The city would have to pay for it, because Stu ain't paying for it. That's not happening. So now I think the options are they could play in Clearwater, which I think would be a much more difficult deal in terms of access to the stadium. Beautiful, beautiful place, obviously. And I think it's major league ready. It has a lot of the same things and they're already doing a lot of renovations to it already. You could play in both spots, really. You could probably play some in Orlando. You could play some in Tampa, and I think you could play some in Clearwater. I think Major League Baseball would want a single hub, though, a single place to play. I don't think they'd be too cool with the whole barnstorming thing, because you got to have facilities in place. I think it would be, I think the players
families
union, I think the players union would much rather be in one place. And if it has to be in one place, I think Steinbrenner Field is the place. The parking, the access is obviously equal to what you have at a Bucks game. People are used to it. It's a great stadium. It's a great outdoor stadium. You can, cover up all the Yankees signage with Rays temporary signage. That's not a hard thing to do. I think that would be, and all the Yankees would have to do is sign off. It would be, there's no major hurdles to doing it. So I think that's the best option in my mind. But we'll see where it goes from here. I think it's an opportunity for them to really embrace that Tampa culture. And I also think, and I don't think the mayor has spoken on this yet in St. Pete, Are they going to reassess the cost of this stadium and how they're going to do this with this storms and the wreckage that it's cost, the renourishment that you're going to have to do to fix the beaches? Because a lot of that money for, the hotels are wrecked. There's that whole, and that's a huge part of bringing in, they bring in a hell of a lot more money than the Rays do, like not even close. So how do they spend $1.6 billion on a stadium that's not going to be, obviously not going to bring you as much money as your beaches and your hotels, and then forego that?
Yeah.
You can't do it. You can't do it. So I think a reassessment is definitely going to be in the cards. And I know maybe that stadium doesn't get built. Maybe it eventually gets built in Tampa. Who knows?
Right.
But I think this opens the doors to a lot of different things. I don't think it's going to be standard operating procedure moving forward in St. Petersburg after, what just happened, the crane accident, all that stuff that's got to be dealt with, and the stormwater drainage. I mean, you got to do something about Snell Isle. It's there's no doubt that something needs to be done, and these fixes are not easy.
And Raymond James Stadium wasn't built to host baseball. It's a football only stadium. It can't be converted for baseball. So that's not an option for those of you wondering about that.
Not an option. But and I think Disney is it's too far for the home base. You've got a home base of fans that you have to cater to.
Yeah.
You have to. This is a Tampa Bay team. It's not an Orlando team. And I think a lot of people have been thinking about Disney. And if it does become Disney instead of St. Petersburg or Tampa, or the Phillies, I got some serious questions about, the loyalty to the fan base, because what is Disney bringing you that those other places aren't? Attendance is about the same. They're major league facilities. Why would you go to Orlando when you can do the same thing in Tampa or Clearwater? That to me would be another slap in the face to the fan base. So,
and Steinbrenner Field's like right next to Raymond James, right? So as far as the infrastructure goes, it's there. And I mean, the old baseball stadium used to be on the property where Raymond James Stadium. Right. I mean, not where the Rays played, but the old, I forgot what they called it.
Yeah, people have mentioned Al Lang, but I think that's been converted to a soccer stadium now. You could probably bring it back to, but it's not as big as these other stadiums. Facility-wise, it's just not as big. Parking and egress would be a nightmare for 15,000 people if you brought it up to 15, 20,000 people. So I don't think Al Lang is even an option anymore.
Right.
But I could be wrong about that. But I think they're not playing any more games in Tropicana Field. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Steinbrenner Field's probably nicer than Tropicana Field was.
It is, quite frankly. What they've done to that place, the huge bars that they have, they've got luxury suites there. Right. They've got the out the right field. They've got gazebos out there that they've built, the Hard Rock gazebos. They have a whole outdoor bar, tiki bar in right field, and they have time now that they can put up bleachers in the outfield. They've got some room where they can expand and do some different things to make this, because this is not just a 1-year deal. This is going to be a 3-year deal until they get the stadium, if they still build the stadium in St. Pete. That's not happening until they won't be playing there till 28. So this is not going to be a quick fix. This is going to be what, 25, 26. Yeah, it's a 3-year proposition. And you could do a lot in that time, with that stadium in Tampa. So yeah, I think to me, that's the best way to go here, but it'll be interesting to see what this process looks like. And I think it does very much put the new St. Pete Stadium in some disarray.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen now.
Yeah, I agree. You're not going to make that much money selling the shards of the.
And I think we're all okay with that.
Yeah. All right. You want to talk some fantasy football?
Yeah, you ready?
Tito, ready to go?
Tito, you ready to go?
Let's go.
I am ready. You are looking live from Eugene, Oregon. I'm out here for the Buckeye game.
Wow. Yeah, that looked like an Oregon tree behind you.
That's an Oregon tree.
What do Oregon trees look like?
They're green. They're Oregon green.
Yeah.
Yellow and green.
Ohio
Look at them. Can't you see them? They're yellow and green.
It's beautiful. Hey, I could see Steinbrenner saying they could play there, but they've got to cover up. They can't cover up the Yankee stuff. It still say Yankees everywhere in the stadium, but you can play here if you want to. Steinbrenner be a hard ass about that.
I think it's the only option, right? Well, not the only
is.
option, but
It's,
I
it's
think
the
it's the
best
best
option.
option.
It's the best option. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work for Damon's Restaurants, and Steinbrenner had a location out there in the hotel that he owned out there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was funny because whenever I went to do a visit, I was in charge of like the sports programming. Whenever I worked for Damon's corporate, whenever I went there for a visit, and I always knew right away if Steinbrenner was in town or not. When he was in town, every single employee had to wear a Yankees hat. Like the general manager of the hotel, general manager of the restaurant, all had to wear Yankees hats. And there were 3 or 4 people that carried around walkie-talkies only when George was there to communicate where
Yeah.
George is. You know, and hey, George owned 2 Damon's franchises. Like, hey, George coming down to the restaurant. George is on the been a suite. George is whatever. They would constantly communicate with each other to make sure and tell everyone when you see
Did he have
George.
a call sign? Was there a nickname for him like they have to give for all the presidents?
If there was, I probably can't say it. Well, I could say it, I guess, on the internet. But I
Yeah,
probably,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was. I would say it was some kind of animal, like a gorilla or something. I think it was something like that.
Gorilla One is on the move.
Right, something like that. It was
Gorilla One heading for main dining room.
There was a time. There was the Dame was on Fowler Road one time, had planned this big Super Bowl party, and the day of the Super Bowl, everyone's lined up to come in for the restaurant opens up, and George comes over and tells the staff, "No, we're not opening today. I'm having a private party here." And had a private party in the restaurant with all these guests waiting outside to come in for the Super Bowl.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Short notice, George.
But how many World Series have they won since George passed?
I don't believe there's been any, right?
0.
Yes. Yep.
So as much as you may have hated his style, got the job done.
It did. Yep, it did.
You think Cashman would still have his job?
I don't think so. I mean, George mellowed out in his later years a little bit, but I don't think he would.
You think Aaron Boone would still have his job?
No, I know, but I don't think Boone.
Definitely
Boone would. No.
He'd have tried to bring back
the
Billy
third
Martin
time
from the
he's
grave.
been managing the team, but it wouldn't be congruent. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think Tim's got it right. The corpse of Billy Martin would be the manager there right now for a couple of days, and then if they lose the ALCS, he'd be gone.
But that's not why we brought you on.
No,
we have to talk some fantasy football here. So tell me a little. What are your thoughts this week? Sit 'em, play 'em. Who's good? Who's not? What do you got?
Well, I'll tell you first of all, I always forget when I get things wrong, but I think I told you Garrett Wilson was the guy to start last week, and he'd rebound. He had a big week last week, which was good. But there's bye weeks again. Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, and Vikings are all off. And I wanted to talk a little about the guys who could be out there strategically. Grab players who are on IR if they're going to be coming back very soon. I keep an eye on a guy like Tua. I'm not saying Tua's going to be great when he comes back or when he's going to come back. I've heard different reports on when he might do it. But if it's a guy I stash. I might not stash him to think I'm going to use him ever, but I might stash him as trade bait later on. If you got an IR spot on your roster, grab someone like Tua, grab someone like Hawkinson, grab Jonathan Brooks in Carolina if he's still out there. He's going to come back soon as well. And so like those guys, that's the way you strategically do this is if you have an IR spot, grab somebody, not necessarily think you're going to have to play him at any point, but if you're going to make a trade with somebody later on, if they get desperate at quarterback, if their main guy gets hurt and Tua comes out and has a couple of good games, that's somebody you could move for some kind of other pieces. Couple of rookie starting quarterbacks this week. You've got Spencer Rattler for New Orleans starting. They host Tampa Bay, and Drake May at Houston. And I love when I stream defenses picking up defenses that are playing against first-time starting rookie quarterbacks. I'm not saying Rattler and May will be terrible.
Bucs defense, which I'm going to play this week against instead of the Packers against Arizona and Kyler Murray. I'm going to start the Bucs against Spencer Rattler, even though I know nobody makes rookie quarterbacks look like Tom Brady, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
They're good at it, yes, but still, I think it's a good start though. I picked up Rattler in several of my leagues as well, and that's somebody who I think, Tampa Bay going against Rattler in a couple of my leagues as well. I think that's a good start, and I fully expect Houston's pass rush to frustrate Drake May. It's a tough way to throw him into the fire on the road at Houston. I'm surprised they did that instead of giving Jacoby Brissett a couple more starts on that one. two guys I targeted in dynasty drafts, Chase Brown and Wan'Dale Robinson. If they're out there in your leagues, go grab them. Chase Brown in Cincinnati is starting to take over more and more of the role. I know he's questionable this week.
Uh-oh.
The duck got him.
Uh-oh. Call us back. He'll be back. There he is.
Sorry. Even if Chase Brown doesn't play this week, I still think he'll be the guy for the second half of the season for the Bengals. Wan'Dale Robinson, look, the Giants are Daniel Jones is playing, I think, a little better than people expected, and Wan'Dale Robinson's certainly reaping some of the benefits of that. He and Malik Neighbors both are viable weapons, but Wan'Dale Robinson might still be out there in your leagues if you want to go out there and grab him.
I had a question for you, Tito, regarding Cowboys players, and specifically Jalen Tolbert against the Lions this week. Jalen Tolbert's really come on this season since week 1. He's only got 4 fewer targets and less than 2 fewer fantasy points than CeeDee Lamb since week 1. And the Lions' opponents have the 3rd highest pass rate, and Detroit's yielded the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers.
Yep.
If Jalen Tolbert's out there, and if you don't already have him, you got to go get him for this week, right?
Totally agree. Yes, I totally agree. With Brandon Cooks being out for a few more weeks, it looks like at least. I think Tolbert's a great ad. I expect a lot of points. I think that'll be the highest scoring game of the week, Cowboys and Lions. I like both those offenses. So many guys on those offenses. I saw Zeke was complaining about not getting enough goal line touches. That's because you stink, Zeke, and you're over the hill. And I say that as a Buckeye fan, obviously.
Right.
But I think Tolbert. I grab him. I grab Rico. I'm sorry, play Rico. He's already gone in your leagues. That's an amazing stat you have about CeeDee Lamb and Tolbert, how close they are statistically.
Yep.
And likewise, then on the Detroit side, I like Jameson Williams as a wide receiver you might not normally play. I think that the Lions put up big numbers. Jared Goff's a great one to get this week too, and obviously the 2 running backs, David Montgomery and why can't I?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs. Grabbing both those guys are both. I think there'll be a lot of points scored in this game. By the way, also Ferguson, the tight end for Dallas. That guy's been really good. He's going to be a top 5
He's
tight end
starting
the
to
rest of
roll.
the year.
My favorite Cowboy. My favorite Cowboy
really
right now.
Hey, I like him too because I played him last week and got me a win. So
he's just
I like
badass, man.
Like I say, he's top 5 wide receiver the rest of the year. Or top 5 tight end the rest of the year. He will be.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I was trying to decide between Brandon Ayuk and Terry McLaurin, and I went with Terry McLaurin. Ayuk only had 4 points last night, and McLaurin this week going up against that Ravens defense, it suddenly looks pretty vulnerable. So
yeah, it does. That's a good call by you. I think McLaurin's connection with Daniels is going to keep just getting better and better. McLaurin's always been a very talented wide receiver, just hasn't had great quarterback play there for him to take advantage of. With the confidence Daniels is playing with, and the way that offense looks, and I think they scored on so many consecutive possessions to start the season, some ridiculous number. When they're in the red zone, they score, they get the job done. Daniels has been pretty good at avoiding turnovers for the most part. I look for McLaurin to have a big game. I think Washington's going to have to throw the ball to stay in this game against Baltimore. So yeah, I think you made the right call on that one, obviously, with Ayuk having a subpar game last night too.
Yeah. So Tony Pollard or DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift is for the Bears is at Jacksonville or home against Jacksonville. And that's an early game on Sunday. Or Tony Pollard.
He's hosting Indy.
Yeah, hosting Indy. Yeah. What do you think?
I would go with Pollard. Now, I know Swift's had a good last couple of weeks, but I think that Pollard, though, is set to have a big game against Indianapolis. He's performed better than he did last year in Dallas, that's for sure. I expected bigger things from him with the Cowboys last year, and Pollard underperformed. But I think that I believe the Titans' offense is going to get it turned around this week against Indy, and I expect you've got a situation where they probably won't have to throw the ball as much. I'd look for them to try to control the ball more during this game against Indy. So I think Pollard gets a lot of work, and also he'll be in the game lock. He's a decent pass blocker, and he's certainly a threat out of the backfield.
But Swift against that Jacksonville defense, no.
Yeah,
Caleb's starting to throw the ball downfield more often.
He's starting to throw the ball more. He feels more comfortable running the ball, I believe. It's that game at 6:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m., 6:30 where I'm at. Over across the pond there. I like Pollard a lot this week. Swift is one of those guys who I don't trust to have like a run of 3 or 4 good weeks in a row. He's been inconsistent his entire career, and so I don't expect him to have as good a game as Pollard this week against Indianapolis.
All right. Anything else you got, Timmy?
I did want to pick your brain about Cincinnati and the Giants. Daniel Jones against the Cincinnati secondary. Now, I know it sounds weird to recommend Daniel Jones for fantasy, and he's never an easy fantasy player to trust. I get it. He's beaten his projection in 3 of the last 4 games, and last week he did it without Malik Neighbors in the lineup.
Right.
So I think for him, things are maybe trending. And I'm a big Daniel Jones fan, to be honest with you. I like Daniel Jones. Of course, you have to separate that when it comes to fantasy. But if Neighbors, especially if Neighbors is cleared for week 6, and I haven't seen if he's playing or not yet, I would think Daniel Jones would be an easy pickup.
I think he is
Or
too.
an easy start.
That's another high-scoring game also. I think that Giants and Bengals game. Bengals obviously can't stop anybody. The defense has been pathetic this year. And Daniel Jones, he's played better than expected. I think most people thought that, they'd already written off the fact, he's going to be cut after this year. And, he shouldn't even be started. They should have got drafted a quarterback, all those things. But Jones has played better than expected so far. And yes, and if you've got if you normally start, and I hope you normally don't start Stafford or Darnold, but if you normally do, or Mahomes is off this week. Those guys normally start. I mean, Neighbors is certainly one I would jump in and put him on there and put him in the lineup there. The other game I'm really curious about this week is Buffalo and the Jets, to seeing how the offense changes for the Jets, if it does change at all, with new play calling coming on, a new head coach, obviously. Aaron Rodgers, despite the his fingerprints being all over this, is claiming he had nothing to do with the firing of Robert Saleh. I don't believe that.
Nobody believes that.
Nobody, but I think it's great that Rodgers thinks he can pull the wool over our eyes on that one. Like, no one believes it.
He doesn't live in reality. We know this.
Right, of course he doesn't. Yes, of course. But that's a game that's really interesting to watch. Also, the Pittsburgh and Las Vegas game is a big game for my Steelers, with Justin Fields and his quest to obtain that starting job with Russell Wilson coming back. Another reason, obviously, to stash somebody. If you have an open roster spot, you can stash Russell Wilson. Not necessarily saying he'll get the job, but if Fields doesn't play well, Wilson will get the job. If Fields keeps playing well, Wilson might get traded to somebody, a team that might need a quarterback off an injury. So, again, not somebody who I think is going to be great the rest of the year. But if you find a desperate team, and that's always what I do. Every week, every league I'm in, I go and look at who's in last place, or maybe just like on the cusp of, where the playoff line is, and try to exploit them when they need a win. If they need a win and they got major bye weeks, like this week, if your guys loaded, if somebody's loaded with Kansas City players and they desperately need a win, I would swoop in and try to upgrade a couple positions if I could afford to take a less than stellar week on my team and do that. So I have no shame in doing that. I will start with that last place team and send an email or a text or whatever and say, look
at you.
It's
My
cutthroat,
God.
I know. That's
Getting the people while they're down. Go find some people that have lost power for a week and a half and steal their best running back. Okay, good.
There it is.
There you go, Tito. Way to go.
That's the best thing to do right there.
It's a business. It's business.
It's all business.
That's
It's all
right.
business. I'm getting paid to do people's fantasy teams, so whatever.
Right.
All right.
Tell
Very
everybody about
Machiavellian
Fantasy
of you.
Draft
Very,
Proxies
very
and,
nice.
and where they can find you.
Fantasy Draft Proxies is where you can go. We do team management if you want it. We do consultation, and we also do drafts every year for people in multiple sports. So if you're going to do a fantasy basketball, you can also go there and hire one of the experts to do it. We got a big staff of people that have done it for years and years. Baseball, we do some of that as well. And then obviously the football's our bread and butter. But you can also follow me at It Happens. And by the way, just so you know, just came across that Malik Neighbors is out.
Oh, he is out. Okay.
Yeah, he's good. But still, I love Daniel Jones. But yeah, go to at It Happens on the X on Twitter. Do that. And then also I host the Buckeye Blitz and the Black and Gold Blitz as well on FanStream Sports, powered by DSP Media. How's that for a plug?
Wow, look at that.
All right, last question. I was going to load up on the Buckeyes this week. I shouldn't even be asking you because you can't have an objective opinion.
I do have an objective opinion.
Okay.
I loved him a lot early on when it was 2 and 2.5. The line now is 3.5. So I don't like that hook. I still think the Buckeyes will end up covering it. I don't feel as confident about it, though, with the 3.5. I still think they will. It's just the Buckeyes do such a great job making adjustments in the second half. Look at every game they've played this year. They have started off slowly, which they can't do against Oregon. But then the second half, they dominate opponents. Jim Knowles does a fantastic job defensively of scheming against these teams, sees what they can do. You saw against Marshall, they gave Ohio State all kinds of problems early on with the quarterback draw, the quarterback running the ball and things like that, the quick passes, and Ohio State adjusted to that. Marshall's the only team that scored 14 points against Ohio State so far this year.
So Oregon first quarter is what you're saying.
Yeah,
that Oregon first quarter, and then the rest of the game. Okay, gotcha.
At Ohio State.
All right, thanks, Tito. Appreciate it, buddy. Thanks,
guys.
All right, we'll take one more break. When we come back, Tim and I will do our pick segment, the long-awaited, much highly anticipated will make you absolutely no money picks week. So quick break, back in 3. As we head into summer and hurricane season, you must make sure that your home is fully insured. Over 40% of people in Florida are not fully insured because property rates have gone up lately. Your home is worth more, so it needs to be insured. Call the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799 to make sure you're fully insured. And also, you might just save some money. There are new companies coming into the state all the time. In fact, we just shopped our homeowners insurance, and I'm telling you, folks, we saved over $550 because Charity, the great customer service at Italiano Insurance, did all the work and found us a better company and a cheaper company. She'll do the same for you. 813-877-7799. Do something about these high rates. Shop them around. Could save you lots of money. It's Italiano Insurance. Been doing business here locally for over 60 years. 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you. Discover the collection of men's jewelry that combines classic style with contemporary flair at the Gold and Diamond Source. From sophisticated watches to bold rings, find pieces that reflect your personality and stand the test of time. Each piece in their men's collection is crafted with precision and attention to detail, ensuring quality and durability. Whether it's a sleek bracelet or a striking pendant, our jewelry makes a statement. From everyday wear to special occasions, our men's jewelry is designed to complement any outfit and add a touch of sophistication. Shop versatile pieces that transition seamlessly from casual to formal. Browse our extensive range of men's jewelry, including rings, bracelets, necklaces, and cufflinks. Whether you prefer understated elegance or bold designs, they have something for every taste. Visit their knowledgeable staff to help you find that perfect piece. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almaden Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on this Football Friday. Going to do a little picks here real quick. I was just perusing the Twitter machine here, and Joe Klatch is the chief engineer, control room operations at the Tropicana Field, infrastructure, game presentation, production, all that stuff. He said, after getting back in the control room, we will rebuild. I've got a career full of building stadiums, systems. I'm heartbroken, but ready to take on the challenge to get our house in order and then build a new house too. keep those heads held high. We'll get back there. So he's planning on.
Yeah, but he's
back
not
to
the one that
drop
has to
to
write the
field.
check.
Yeah.
I mean, he could want to all he wants, but he's not the one that writes the check. So we'll see.
Well, I guess they got to figure out if the superstructure is damaged. I mean, it looks like the catwalks are still in place. I mean, if it's a matter of just putting the fabric over the roof,
right?
How expensive is that? But I mean, from what I saw, there was damage. Most of the superstructure looks okay, but I think there was some damage to the catwalks. I don't know. And obviously the catwalks, the superstructure is the most expensive part to do. But what's the integrity? And like I said, the chief engineer said the roof was only supposed to last 25 years. So what is,
That's 10 years past that, right?
Yeah. What is the safety concerns of that? Well, actually, the Rays started playing there in 98.
98, but it was built in 90.
Yeah, it was built late 80s.
Yeah,
so it was. I think the Lightning played there in the early 90s. So it's been operational since 1990. So 32 years. Yeah, well past its shelf life. All right, let's get the picks going here, partner. Go ahead, you run this segment.
Yeah. So this is our pick segment. We pick 3 college and 3 NFL games each week here around this time at almost noon now. JP, you and I are tied on the year, 12-12.
Okay.
After last week, I only got 4 points. You got 5 points. I'm sorry, I got 6 points. You got 5 points last week. Got a possible, 12.
Okay.
So this week, college, we've got Clemson minus 21 at Wake Forest with a total of 62.
The Clemson Tigers put up 500 yards of offense last week against my Knowles. Could not finish in the red zone. They're not going to have that trouble this week. I think Dabo's going to get that figured out, and I think they lay it on Wake. I'm going to go ahead and take Clemson and lay the 21.
All right, over under 62.
I'm going to go under. That Clemson defense is not going to allow Wake Forest to score, so I'm going to go under.
Yep, and I'm going Wake Forest to cover and also the under.
Okay. All right.
Memphis minus 7.5 at USF.
I think USF comes out and plays their best game of the year. I like the Bulls in this spot. They're pissed off. They've had a lot of crap going on this week, but I think they use that to their advantage. I think they go out in Camping World Stadium and get a dub, and I'll take the 7 points too.
All right. And then over under 61.
I think a lot of points going to be scored here, so I'll go over the 61.
You're going over. I'm a friend to one TJ Reeves, so I'm going Memphis.
Oh.
And I'm going under the 61.
Okay. All right.
Final college game here, Florida plus 14 at Tennessee.
I love Tennessee in this spot. I love Tennessee. I think they're pissed off. They're back home. I think Florida's feeling proud and happy about themselves. They've won 2 games. They saved their coach's job, but I think Tennessee gets even this week. I think it's a blowout up there.
Yikes. Okay. So you've got Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Over under 57.
I'm going to go under 57 because I don't think the Gators are going to score much.
You've got Tennessee and then under 57. I've got Tennessee and the over 57, JP.
Okay.
Monday Night Football, the Bills minus 1.5 at the Jets.
The Jets are in complete disarray. I think the Bills are pissed off. I think it's a get-back game for them, and I think the Jets are just in complete disarray. I don't see how they bounce back. I'm going to take the Bills in this one.
And over under 41.
Ooh, I'm going to go over. That's a low number. I'm going to go
over. All right. I've got Buffalo and the under. It's always never a good sign when your defensive coordinator takes over the head coaching duties and immediately makes changes to the offense.
Yeah.
Like, he's changing play callers.
Well, that's weird.
That's not even your department, sir. Stay in your lane.
And it's the coach's best.
Yeah. So anyway, poor Jets. I don't feel bad at all for Aaron Rodgers. JP, the Lions minus 3 at the Cowboys.
I You know what? The Cowboys played better, but they're not consistent. I like the Lions. The Lions are the better team.
Yep. Over under 52.
I think a lot of points. I'm going to go over 52, even though that's a high total.
All right. I've got Detroit, and I also have the over. So same there. And then finally, JP, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -3.5 at the New Orleans Saints in the Little Caesar Superdome.
I love the Bucs this week. I think the Saints are too beat up. This is the time where Bowles is finally going to figure it out and get a rookie quarterback to struggle. So I'm going to take the Bucs and the under in this one.
You've got the Bucs in the under. I've got the Bucs in the over. I think the Bucs might hit at least 30 on their own this week.
What's the number? 30?
41.5.
41. Yeah, I'm going to go under on that one.
Still got under. All right. And there are your NFL and college picks here on the JP Peterson Show.
All right, there you go. Don't forget we got early games on Sunday. Get your
Bears
teams.
Jacksonville, right?
Yeah.
In London.
Yeah, Jacksonville, their plane was delayed. When your plane is delayed and then you got to fly 8 hours, that sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks. By the way, Rafael Nadal announcing he's going to retire. What an incredible career for him. And Cam Newton is going to be a co-host on First Take.
I mean, I already don't watch that show.
I know. He says a lot of stupid stuff, and now it's going to get even more publicity. Oof. Yeah, that's a hard no for me. F you. We haven't played that since Dublin.
No, we need to. We'll pick it up here after the. It'll probably be in the outro.
Yeah. Didn't go well.
Not in Dublin, it didn't go well. No.
Probably should have reserved that for Mike Norvell, actually, at this point. All right, you guys listen, have a great weekend. If you're digging out, be patient. It's going to be all right in a few months. Hopefully we don't get any more storms, Lord willing. But we'll be watching all our teams this weekend. Go Bucks, go Bulls, and go Lightning tonight. 7:00 puck drop in Raleigh. Can't wait to see that. Thank you, Timmy. Appreciate you. Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you on Monday.
Thank you.